Hello and welcome back to Satisfactory. So in the previous episode we managed to get our space elevator up. We now have to complete phase 1 in order to get access to the additional upgrades that allow us to get some of the other materials that are on the map, including coal and the use of steel, things like that. So here we are back in our very dirty workshop area. The same stuff that's been running previously is still going, producing some steel plates and some rotors on the other side. And in a very quick attempt just to be able to get the advanced plating that we need, or whatever it's called, let's have a look. Smart plating that we need. We have everything that we require. All we need to do is just have a simple assembler in place and, well, that'll just keep going. So whilst that's working away and making those, we can pretty much just ignore it. All of this, again, will be coming away from here. We can also use any surplus stuff to sell it into the FICSIT sink. Let's let that just do its thing. We can see we've got some smart plating there. That's great. Whilst that's doing that, I can then get back to focusing on working on this area over here with the iron factory. We're doing very well with our upgrades so far. I can show you where we're at. I've managed to unlock this tree here for basically the creatures that have been attacking as I've been exploring the map. I've been taking them and doing the research for them, and it's unlocking some simple things. Additional inventory slots, for example, on that one there. That was the medical inhaler that you saw on the previous episode. I've also unlocked the rebar gun now, which is a very simple, rudimentary gun. It's slow firing. I will show you, in fact. We will equip it. So we can get rid of the zapper now. And now we have this rebar gun. And you have to make the rebars in order to fire. And with each shot, I have to reload manually. As you can see, it's pretty slow, and if you get overwhelmed, you can still get pretty badly hurt. It does mean, however, that you can position yourself in some nice safe areas and take out some of the more aggressive fauna that's around. And allow you to gather some of the more important ingredients, or just to unlock some of the map a little bit and see what's going on. So that's a useful upgrade. On top of that, we've got the Caterium. This is an ore that was found actually just... If you look at the top of my screen, you should now see on the radar Caterium. It's just a simple patch. It's got a boulder on top of it, which I can't put a factory up there yet for, but I have put some miners up there, the simple handheld miners. And they are just churning up a little bit at a time, and it gave me enough to be able to do some of the research in here to get some of the advantages from that particular thing. And that one here unlocks the quick wire. It brings a few extra products into the shop as well that can be unlocked. And further down the line, we are able to put the power pole Mark II, which you may have seen in the last episode if you were paying close attention. But if not, this is why this is an advantage. We've now gone from 4 to 7 connections on these. They're more expensive to make, but really, really useful, especially when you're branching off. And so if you have several machines trying to run off one, and also like there on the top of that hill where I've got one perched up there, you can branch that off in many different directions to help your power be distributed properly. 4 is just not enough, but you know, it's really there just as a starter thing, I guess. So that was a nice upgrade. And that continues down. We have the zip line, which allows you to travel up and down the cables where needed. I can show you a small example of that as well, just for fun. I believe I need to pop that in my hand. It's not the easiest thing to get to grips with when you get to another cable. I think there's a bit of an art to it. It's really useful if you've got something up high, like over there. You know, if I wanted to get on top of that hill, which ordinarily is really, really tricky to get up, you'd probably have to build foundations all the way up there. I can do this instead. And here we are. So, very, very useful piece of kit, that. Especially early game when you're trying to traverse between all of the cliff edges and things like that, where it starts to get a little bit dangerous. We've also unlocked the parachute, which is something you probably saw on the other episode. I've hurt myself a few times now, jumping off of cliffs or even just running along and finding myself without the ground underneath my feet anymore, which is quite common in this game. While it's quite funny, it's not too good if you're out in the field somewhere a long way from home. Luckily I haven't died from it yet, but yeah, the parachute's very, very useful. And that was actually unlocked by the next thing, which is the mycelium. Here we go, you see we've got fabric that's been unlocked there, and then the parachute. We also got an additional hand equipment slot on our character, which, as you saw here, we started with 2, we now have 3. There are some more upgrades that allow us to unlock, I think it's a total of 5 or 6 that you can actually do in total. And then we have the nutrients one, which was done fairly early on. I found the nuts eventually when I was exploring. They're not actually too far away from here. And that led down to the medical inhaler, which is very important to be able to give yourself a really good boost of health. Unlike the regular food, which you find around the place, and that is not as effective. And then we have one more slug to get here, which will unlock the ability to... It says power shard there, but actually it goes in stages. The blue slug is 1 shard, the yellow slug is 2, and the purple slug is 3. And then the final one here, can't remember what that actually unlocks, but we need to get there first, and I haven't found the purple one yet. And then we have quartz, which I also mentioned in the previous episode. Over here we have the silica that I've been using for the windows in the building. And again, that was just simply by finding the quartz slot I was able to research it. That has unlocked additional things in the shop. It also allows us to create quartz crystals and silica. And now, as you can see here, we have some things that haven't been unlocked yet. They still need to be done. And over on this side, again, we've unlocked the silica, which allows us to have the windows in the buildings. I've also, with the silica that I was able to make, I was able to unlock these Blade Runner boots, which are very good. I can sprint around now and jump about all over the place. I take a lot less damage from falling within reason. And then this was just an inventory expansion, which is very useful. As you can see here, we've now got a fair bit of space in our inventory, which is nice. Sulfur is very early game at the moment. I managed to find some, just nodes that were not really patches for gathering, but just some nodes that were just scattered in the wilderness up against hills and in random little outcrops and stuff. And that unlocked the ability to make black powder. And that leads down to what I would like to get, which is this. We need these steel pipes that you can see in the middle there. We need to get the steel pipes in order to unlock that, and the steel pipes are unlocked after the phase that we are doing now with the space elevator. Also, it'd be nice to be able to get some more inventory, a hand equipment slot, edition 1, that's very good. But again, we also need the reinforced steel beams, which are a mix of concrete and steel beams. And we can see here we can unlock compacted coal. That is something that I could possibly do now. I need a hard drive for that orange thing. But you find those out in the wild. They're usually guarded by something, and sometimes you need to supply a particular item to the box to be able to unlock it, so you can get the hard drive out of it. and then you can use it to research stuff. Same with the fuel here, we've got additional types of fuel that we can use with the vehicles when we unlock them, and then smokeless powder, which leads on to the rifle, which is one of the better weapons in the game. Much better damage, faster firing, and all that kind of stuff. And then again here we have some more explosives, the obelisks. And the reason we want to unlock this one is so that when we come across the large boulders on the ground, we're able to blow them up and get access to things like the Caterium, which we need to get, which is quite close to us. So, that's that. Thought I'd give you a little insight into some of the upgrades that we've been doing. It was very slow going and not really something I'm prepared to record, and I think you would be very bored to watch it. Hopefully you're not too bored listening to it either. I'm going to get on, try and unlock another couple of things here, and then I'll bring you back and we'll start having a look and seeing what we can do with our iron facility over there that we're going to work with. I've been grinding away at some modular frames here so that we can get some coupons. And I've already collected 5. I would like to get another couple if possible, but it may be that we can only get the 1 here. It's getting more and more expensive, the more I do. And I don't want to waste too many of the base ingredients that we have at the moment, especially modular frames, which are they're quite a long time to make. One of the upgrades that I would really like to get done straight away here, aside from the doors, which obviously would allow us to tidy up some of these gaps that are in the walls here, which are a little unsightly, but that is the end goal, is to put doorways in. But more important than that is the walkways. The reason for this is that we can then have multi-layered buildings that we can get easy access to. As you saw in the previous episode, I was jumping and messing around all over the place in order to do that. So let's go to the carts and buy that.
Fun fact: architecture was invented when people began building buildings. If it had been invented slightly beforehand, perhaps more old buildings would still be around. Humanity sometimes lacks vision.
So here we go. We now have some nice railings and ramps and walkways that we can put up that can interconnect between floors, and you can put doorways in and things like that and get easy access to each floor, which is really important. The reason I wanted to upgrade that one now is while we work on this new iron facility over here. This is going to be very important for us. So I'm going to start prepping up for this now, and I will, much like with the power station over there, I will bring you along for the ride as I do each bit. I've just been checking out this assembler now whilst I was off to get some more materials to continue with our iron facility over there. And we now have enough of these smart plates to send them. Now let's go and do that before we continue over there. And you can see I've made a very simple start so far. So here we go. Now we seal it.
Welcome to the Project Assembly Pioneer Progress presentation. Congratulations, the Phase 1 project part shipment is now ready for delivery. On delivery, Phase 1 will be completed and the distribution platform will be constructed. After completion of Phase 1, the technologies of Tiers 3 and 4 will become available in the hub. Highlights are automated power, steel production, personnel transportation, and many more. Completing Phase 2 of project assembly is your next main objective. New project parts will need to be produced and delivered to the space elevator as you have done previously. Continue to construct, automate, explore and exploit for a better FICSIT future.
So that was pretty well explained there as to what's going on. These phases that we do from here will then unlock tiers that we undo in the hub. Off it goes.
Phase 1 of project assembly completed. This is only the beginning of project assembly, the first step towards saving the day. You have performed adequately so far. Reminder: not only is FICSIT saving humanity, it is saving all of Earth, including kittens and puppies. It is statistically likely that you appreciate the continued existence of kittens and/or puppies. Continue the work for their sake. Continue the work for FICSIT. It is time to start the work on Phase 2 of project assembly.
Very cool. I like that. Looks very good. And so we should now have the next stage, which is 1,000 smart plating. So we're really going to need to step our game up to meet the demands of that one. Same with the versatile framework and the automated wiring as well. A lot to do. I've stopped the production of the smart plating for now, because it's using up the reinforced plating, which we need for the belts and some of the other things that we're producing right now. So I don't want to burn through all of that, but we will get back onto crafting those up. Once we've got this nicely set up over here, we'll see what we can do to produce more of that for that particular purpose. Anyway, yeah, kind of cool, huh? All right. So back at the FICSIT hub. Tier 2 completed, and now we're on to Tier 3. So the vehicular transport is really cool. It really changes the game significantly, but we need a decent type of fuel for that, ideally. And coal power, I think, is worth getting earlier rather than later. And then we have an additional security thing, which is kind of nice. Another equipment slot, as I was saying about. We have additional inventory slots. It's quite an easy one to do, that one, actually. We probably even have enough stuff to do that fairly soon. And then the Xenobasher here, which is basically just a sword weapon, which is kind of cool instead of the gun. Nice one to have if you're close quarters with things. But I think to begin with, we're going to aim for this. We should have enough things to be able to do this. We might be a little short on this, but we'll find out. But at least then we can get coal, and we can start even generating some coal power as well, which is very, very useful. So let's select that milestone. Okay, back at the hub, and we can put the rest of the stuff we need here.
Milestone reached. Power production can now be fully automated by burning coal, which has been added to the resource scanner. Water is also necessary to run the coal-powered generator and will require a network of pipelines to be transported from a water source. To assist with locating and identifying water, FICSIT has compiled this guide. Water is a somewhat reflective liquid, and it may have thick vegetation growing nearby. To test if something is water, try touching it. If it is not solid and does not corrode your suit, it is probably water.
So what we have here so far, the miner is producing 120 per minute with the miner Mark 1, and that is being pumped out with the fastest belt that we have, which is the Mark 2, and I believe that is 120 per minute. So we are optimized there with the amount coming through from the belt into storage. And we have, on this side, we have the top storage box. And then on this side, we have the bottom storage box. Both of them are running at the same speed and are producing the same amount of iron. So what we'll do from here is we will set up a smelting plant that will smelt all of this iron down into ingots at the rate at which it's being produced from this over here. In the meantime, our transporter has arrived back from our previous hub upgrade. So before we continue over there, we will just quickly row this into the machine and get that delivered.
Milestone reached. Coal and iron can be combined in the foundry to start steel production. Project part number 2, the versatile framework, can only be created via automation, not at a crafting bench. Delivering these to the space elevator is essential if we are going to complete Phase 2 of project assembly and save the day. FICSIT and humanity is relying on you.
Keep missing it as it runs off. Anyway, yeah, we're doing good actually. Let's have a look quickly. So we now have the foundry, which is going to give us ability to break down steel, which is really important. This will upgrade our belts and stuff as well that we can upgrade. We have a water extractor. This is very important as part of the power production. We need to be able to both, here we go, coal power generator. We need to bring in water and coal so that we can cool the facility, but it produces a huge amount of power from one generator, which is excellent. It sort of makes the biomass burner redundant at this stage, although we will keep that there as a backup system, I guess. It's not taking up much space at all, and for now, while we set other things up as well, it's definitely going to be needed. But as soon as we can get the power connected to wherever the coal is, let's have a look and see actually how close. Alright, so it's a long way away. 800 meters is the closest one. And then over a kilometer away. So we will have to probably have to set up a transport system, but we will also have to look out for some water on the map to allow us to set up a power plant as well. So I've set up now the split or the initial set of smelters here for the iron. We have 4 running from one of the supply containers that's been split off. So we have exactly 120 per minute that has been fed from this bottom one down here. And that one is coming from the left-hand side over there, the mine here. So that should be quite a lot of ingots coming through there, and then when those ingots are smelted, they will be fed to a storage container. I haven't decided exactly where I'm going to do that yet. I think I have to be a bit careful because things will upgrade and containers certainly will get bigger. The main thing is that we have a buffer, and then we're going to be sending those iron ingots out as fast as possible to whatever industry we're going to be building certain things, the constructors and stuff. So I'm going to close these in. And I'm probably going to set up a second foundry on top of that, which will be leading on the second one here, and that will feed over to a container, maybe on this side, that can go to other constructors. Haven't decided yet. I've got to be careful, because with the belts being only as fast as 120, if I merge both of these together, we're not going to have the flow to be able to supply all of the factories that will be requiring that 120 to be coming through. We're back at the hub again for the next upgrade, and we have pretty much everything we need here.
Milestone reached. Tractors permit pioneers to move around the world in a manner similar to using legs, except with wheels and the rampant consumption of natural resources. They can also be automated to self-drive and deliver resources between truck stations, which in turn facilitate automation of loading, unloading, and refueling.
So as you can see here with Tier 4, we have some really nice things. We've got the industrial storage container, that's what I was talking about, the upgrade for our materials, and the faster belts, which are going to change things a bit. We also get the Miner Mark II, which will increase our production even further from what we're setting up right now, which is why we must give ourselves a little bit of headroom to be able to expand out on what we've created. Otherwise we will choke ourselves. The hypertubes are really cool. You can put them all around the factory and fly through them. Again, people that have played the game are very familiar with this. And I think we will look for the extra equipment slot here next. Some more inventory there, and then our weapon. This should be a nice simple one to get hold of. Production is up and running. So we have our 4 factories, smelters rather, in here. 30 per minute, as you can see. We've not overclocked them or anything yet. And the way I've done this, we have splitters, again, bringing in the ore for them in an equal quantity from the base storage system here. And then we're coming out of the walls and we're merging into a belt system that is, as you can see, pretty nice and tight there. I think that's about as good as it's going to get, and we will obviously speed up the belts later as well. And then you can see very, very fast production rate we've got there from one mine now. So this is a proper optimization, finally. And then we will do from the second mine, we will come up through this window, we will go up into a roof, and we will have a second smelter coming from there. And we will have another storage container. Alright, so we're on our final upgrade for Tier 3, I think it was. And we have everything we need now. This is for a weapon and some extra storage.
Milestone reached. The Xeno Basher is a direct upgrade from the Xeno Zapper. In the words of the engineer that first developed this tool, quote, "The Zapper kind of electrocutes things, the Basher straight up smacks stuff, while also electrocuting them," unquote. It is beneficial during encounters with aggressive fauna, and has been tested thoroughly. The engineer's noble sacrifice for Xeno research will not be forgotten, whoever they were.
Let's quickly make that weapon, shall we? Here we go. Yeah, got an upgrade from the previous one we had. A sword, almost. Anyway, okay, onwards. Alright, as you can see, we have another mirror of what we've got going down below. Is taking shape up on the top as well. We also have a walkway, which will be adjusted to meet up with a doorway I think I shall put in here. This was one of the things that we unlocked recently, the doorway, the walkway rather. It's unfortunate we have this stuck on the ground here, but I can't really raise it enough without interfering with the one above as well. So it's just going to have to do for now. I can also eventually bring a walkway to meet up with this one from a different location if I want to. For now it's doing the job, and I can just hop over anyway. Should be able to jump up here. Yeah. Okay, so we have the ore set in place here. With that as well. really see the benefit of building upwards compared to spreading out. That's why these early upgrades are so important. Otherwise you're kind of stuck working on the ground, really. Right, let's get some power up to the top as well, I think. We will go with a double one, I think, for that one. And just so I don't short circuit the place. There we go, that's good. Nice and clean. And this one branches off across the bottom on the inside of the building. So we have a nice power feed coming across there, and then we'll put another one up top here as well. Pretty dark in here. I like to do the double ones at the top of buildings. It's a great way of, if you have another building that you build later on, you can be assured that you can kind of plug into that one as well. Eventually, I like to disconnect all of this stuff and connect it up to switches, and you can have smart switches and stuff going on as well for production rates. And you can turn off entire areas if you're running low on power. You can just flick it off, which is a bit difficult to do if you've been connecting every wire to every building. Anyway, we want 2 more of these. You know, I do like a bit of symmetry. Alright, so we'll connect that to that. So we've got that one to there. We will do that to that. No, my mistake. That was wrong. These to come down onto here. Okay, they're all good to go. Let's switch them on. This is potentially where I'm going to get a sudden power outage, but we do have 6 power plants up and running. And we can also shut down the other factories that we've got, because this one here is far more effective at what it's doing. Let's go and check out the power usage quickly. Oh, we've still got plenty of power. Really good, really good. So our peak is around 140 and we're producing 180. Alright, it's looking very slick up there. I shall continue tidying up this outside and get the storage connected up. Okay, so our smeltery is now complete. We have 8 melters up and running. This is the second floor now, which comes up. And I've placed the storage container up on the roof here, and that is fed via this conveyor system going in the opposite direction to down at the bottom. And I obviously have room now to expand on the roof as well if need be. But for the moment at least, I can feed the iron down to another container if necessary, or off into another direction for another manufactory. That now is running both of those iron plants at maximum capacity and producing maximum amount of iron ingots. And you can see here we're already full on the bottom one, and the top one is very, very fast to fill. You can see here steady flow of iron going up there. And that clonking you're hearing, I believe it's just the belt speed. As each one is done, it shuts the machine down for a split second. Hopefully that will speed up at some point. We will be unlocking better quality belts. But for now, everything is connected, everything looks good, so the next thing is to utilize all of these ingots and start creating some iron plates and pipes on a much larger scale. Okay, so we're moving along now with our main factory here, where we're going to be making reinforced plate, which is a pretty well used material. I've been working on the main factory structure. I've had to extend the floor upstairs. But I've had to extend the floors upstairs in order to accommodate the factories that we're using. And so the end result of this one plant is going to be just reinforced plate. But quite a lot of it. It's going to be 2 factories spewing that out from the assemblers here. There you go. One there. And another one here. Now this is probably looking really confusing right now. Really confusing to me too. Taken many hours to get it to this condition. But the general idea is that we have our iron coming from below, from the main factory, from the main smelter. It's coming through here. And then as it comes in, it's fed into a storage container. From that storage container, it's then split. So it comes through off to 2 splitters. One up here. One here, and another one over here to make sure that we have an equal split of the items that's coming in. Basically, there's one coming out of there, and there's one coming out of there to equalize it. That's then split into 3 assemblers. Sorry, constructors, not assemblers, and they are just making iron plate. And then we have another 2 that are making iron rods, and those are then being stored in these 2 containers from those 5 factories. The rods that are coming through from these 2 will come through here and are split off, and they're turned into screws in this, and two constructors over here. Those screws then head back out again. And they are stored in this container over here. This container is then bled to the wall, which feeds outside the factory and is then connected through the wall up here, down, and into the assembler. It's not set up yet, but the assembler will also be getting the iron plates from that container up there. I just have to bring over the connecting pipes, which I'm in the process of doing, as you can see here now. So we're going to have one there and one there. And then with the additional merged screws, I have another merger coming off here. It's going to run across here, and then it'll come through the wall up there and connect into this port here. So that's the story so far. It's, yeah, quite overwhelming. But get a bit of height here so you can get a proper look. Yeah, you can see here we now have a maximized functionality. I'm sure it can be done neater than this, but when you're building on top of a building, it's fairly restricted for space, and this is where things can get a little bit complicated. For now, though, this will be able to bring us in 10 reinforced plates per minute, which is pretty good. It's 5 normally. And if we overclock the machinery to balance that out, we can probably increase that too, as long as we make sure we overclock the entire factory along that line. So I'm going to finish up these last few bits, and then I will show you the end result of the factory when it's up and running. Walls, here we go. Yes, okay, good. Add to cart.
Walls are one of humanity's greatest inventions. They definitely stand above floors.
So now we have some nice, simple doorways that we can put up. Definitely keeps the place nice and tidy. And then on this one we want one to the side. The same here. And I think that's everything for the doors. Alright, so we just have the ceiling left to do here, but I want to connect up the wires before I do anything else. So this is the moment of truth. Right, everything's up and running, everything's full blast. And then we have a merger as well for the steel plates, and they will come into this container here. Here we have one already come through. And so all I then need to do with this container here is to feed it out through a wall somewhere so that we have access to the supplies that it's created. And here we go, starting to fill up with the reinforced iron plates. So there we have a functioning, fully functioning factory. And that is purely for reinforced plates. Kind of proud of that, actually. It looks pretty good. And you can see with the space that we actually had in this area, we've managed to keep it fairly cut down. One of the machines clipping through the wall, but unfortunately that happens sometimes. Okay, well I think that's probably it for this episode. We've got our first proper iron production up and running. We can collect more and more of the various parts we can go and grab. So I hope you've enjoyed the episode. I hope it's not been too long, and I hope it's been fun. If you like the episode, do me a favour and give me a little thumbs up. Gets the word out. It's always very helpful. And I'll look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Until then, take care. Bye bye.